Okay, so in Mexico there is also a great discussion to characterize the crisis we are living. Everyone accepts we are in a crisis. For one group or flow of movements, the Mexican crisis is the one of the nation itself, that we have not a national project anymore, that Mexico is so dependent of the exterior, mainly to the US, that now Mexico is just a group of symbols, history, music, hymn, flag, but there is not Mexico anymore. There are serious groups accepting this is the crisis we have. Many others say not that much. The only crisis we have is the crisis of Mexican state. That state that was created after the Mexican Revolution. As you remember, it was a real social revolution, but at the same time crossed by democratic and even to rich people that make that the result was a combination of the two logics. And Mexican state could make at the same time a very modern capitalist country with many social novelties and therefore for many of them the crisis is of the state. There are many positions around that affirmation. For some of them, they say the key to understand the crisis of state is the change of Mexican society. Because 30 years ago, it was a society very disciplined to verticality, educated to majorities, not to minorities, not to diversity. And now we have a new society, still classist, racist, machist, but now with more sensitivity to gender, to human rights, to ecology, to respect the other, to have vital project, to be a society of laws and rights. And therefore, Mexican society is not linked with a state of very long time that is not working. For others, they say the problem is that the Mexican state is so corrupted, with so kind of impunity, with so fiction and juridical fiction, that it is not a state of law, it's not state of justice, it's just a general condition of power as a benefit of a minority. So the state and the institutions are not working anymore. For another, they say this is a criminal state, is the state linked with the organized crime, someone called the narco state, and finally these are the discussion of the crisis of state. There is a third position that says, not that much. The crisis is of the political regime. As you remember, the political regime, with the example of a car, is the way you conduct the car, is the transmission system. But the car is more than the transmission system. The state is more things, law, institutions, territory, people, etc. So they say what is in crisis is the way in Mexico the power is generated. And the features of the political regime are still alive. We had 12 years of alternative in the presidents, 2000 to 2012. We had another party ruling the administration, but we didn't change the political regime. The revolutionary party came again to conduct the regime in which he is an expert. And these features are still mainly the power as the right of those who handle it to leave benefits and corruption and impunity and the political as property of the political parties. And for the society is the idea of don't worry, don't organize yourself, don't think. To be citizen is only go to vote every 3 years. That is to be a good citizen. You don't need to make anything but learn how to ask. Be a good solicitant. Solicitant? A beneficiary. Beneficiary. So you don't organize, don't think, don't move. Connect with the chains of concrete attention, and we resolve your problems. So Mexican society, we have a lack of organization because of this system. But besides that, this regime is also based in the fact of authoritarianism. And here let me make a little parenthesis to bring the memory that after Mexican Revolution, the army who had the right to make politics. In the official party, there were 4 sectors. Peasants, workers, popular sector, and military sectors. And till the 1940, 24 years after the revolution, only military were in the presidents. We had only generals ruling Mexican presidents. And in the 40s, they, with the best general we had, Lázaro Cárdenas, he understood, and they began an agreement saying to the army, hey, you come in the back seat and be like the one saying to the taxi where to go. Let the direction. You are the conductor. Please keep the patria, the nation. Keep the nation. But let us conduct this every 6 years, and you are in charge. And they give Mexican army a very special fuero situation with an incredible autonomy, financial, hospitality, juridical, everything. It's a very unique situation, Mexican army. They play discipline to the civilian president, who is supposed to be the high commander of the army. But Mexican army acts in an autonomy way in this logic of state. We are in charge. The problem is that Mexican army has been returning back to the
driving seat.
And they are in charge of all the contra-insurgent policy to face, to control, to repress any kind of leader of movement that begins to shout and to create opposition, to create demonstration, any kind of local protest, regional protest. The system is incredible, tough. For many years, you can find jails full of people, very simple people, or regional or municipality, that are immediately taken away to jails. In Mexico, in 1968, when we had this famous repression before the Mexican Olympic Games, was there in October, there was a student movement that was very strongly repressed by the army. And that is still a key moment to understand the political stage we are living, because in the 70s, there appeared a lot of armed movements, the Mexican guerrillas, that had a very strong war. It was called the Dirty War with Mexican army. But that logic is still there. At this moment in Mexico, we still have 42 armed groups. Mexican leftist guerrilla, we have 42 groups all around the country. They are not acting military now, but they are growing. And for the army, this is one of its central issues, the contra-insurgency against these kind of groups. But later, when because of this pressure of the US government to bring their concept and their interest of security as the one to be made by Mexican government. President Calderon, 6 years ago, he obeyed, and he created this actual war against organized crime, and the one acting there is Mexican army. They say the cartels are so big that they are a matter of national security, so we need the army there. The strategy was to cut them in middle-sized cartels, so to be able to be confronted as a public security, a police matter instead of military matter. The strategy was worse because now we have a lot of middle-sized but stronger groups that now are open to another crimes and another of the 24 crimes that considered to be part of this organized crime. I close the parenthesis. So therefore, for this third position that says that the Mexican crisis is mainly the one of the political regimen, of the authoritarian political regime, is to say, well, our problem is that we can't face justice or democracy with this rule of Mexican army. This is our main problem. Fourth, and here I will go faster because if not I won't reach where I want to come. There are another explanation of the economical model. For many others is the neoliberal approach. We accept it was crazy why we stopped the development of the fields and peasants, why we stopped Mexican industry, how we accept to become only like a marketplace, maquiladora, maquilas. How we accept to become a country only for the maquilas of the transnationals. Another says that our problem is the educative cultural model, etc., etc. But there are another two central explanations, and for many people in Mexico now, our main crisis is the one of security. Not only because of this action of federal army, but because of the fact that now this push against the organized crime has created a new situation that is very far to be controlled by government. So now we are facing more crimes, and the organized criminal groups, now they have learned two secrets, that they are more sure if they become stronger linked with government, with the structure of state, of army, of police, etc., and at the same time that they are stronger if they strengthen the social base, if they come into the community logic, community needs, therefore to have people that defend their territories. So for many, if we are not able to resolve our security crisis, we won't be able to resolve any of the others. And finally, for many others, and this is one of the diplomatical issues for Mexican government, many are saying, finally, the central explanation of Mexican situation is a generalized situation of violation of human rights. All rights, from individual to collective, from economical to ecological, all the rights are being violated, and the government and its army are the main perpetrators of these violations. That is an affirmation of the High Commissioner of Human Rights of the UN Human Rights. This is an affirmation of the actual in the Inter-American Commission, the one of the OES. It's an opinion of the European Council of Human Rights. But Mexico is not accepting the fact of that explanation. They say, oh, the violations are isolated items. They are not a generalized situation, just a focus of not desired incidents.